okay, you have to also stitch them on a diagonal in order to have the bias stretch, okay? When you stitch it straight, you're not going to have the stretch, right? So what you do is you place one on top of the other, okay? And then you mark a diagonal line on it, okay? Okay, right side has to be facing up, okay? Then you mark 45 degrees. Okay, so 45, okay, and make sure that my 1 inch is touching both sides, okay? That should give me my 45, okay? You can mark, okay? And then I cut on it, okay? You can pin it to keep it in place. Okay, so both corners have to be 45 degrees. Okay, it should look like that. Right? Any questions? Okay. Okay, so then if we want to join it, we join it, make one strip so it's easier to turn one time, or you can work on them separately, right? Depending on how much length you need. Okay, so that's one. Okay, now we have to figure out the piping, okay? Okay, so this is what goes into the piping, right? So the piping is that the binding along, okay, the edge of the bust line, right? Okay. So first is we don't know how much fabric it would take, right? So I'm going to take the bias, since it's on the bias, take a little bit of piece of that, right? Then I'm going to wrap it around, okay? So when I wrap it around, okay, make sure that it's pushed in. Okay, it's tight. Then I'm going to mark on the ends of it, okay? Right, fold it, wrap it around, and then mark the ends, okay? You need to do this because one, you don't know how much the fabric stretch, right? Some fabrics will stretch more around it, some fabric won't, right? Okay, so now I know we have 3/8, right? Now we need to figure out the seam allowance for the bust line, okay? Okay, there's no seam allowance for it. Okay, so we are going to give it a 1/4 inch, right? 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so it means that we have to put a 1/4 here and a 1/4 there, right? Okay, so that's a 1/4, that's a 1/4. So it means again we need a 1 inch strip, okay? Actually. Okay, so this is also 1 inch. Okay, match it. Okay, now that we know it's 1 inch, when you're cutting it, you can make the mark. You can make 2 marks instead, right, and cut on it. Okay, than to come back and cut. Okay, so this is 1 inch. this should be enough for the strap, so I'm not gonna cut it, and then we'll use this for the bust line. Okay, so still measure it, make sure that it's enough for the bust line. Always measure, double check, and then make sure you have at least 5 inches longer. Okay, any questions? Okay, so now we can fold all our fabrics. We're done with the cutting. Okay, now we're just gonna go to the grouping.